So, so recently we celebrated Srila Prabhupada's Vyas Puja, and also we celebrated in a big way the Vyas Puja, as well as Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and especially the acharyas. They really kind of teach us, through their life and through their words. We can really get so much of inspiration by just observing their life and by learning so many life lessons from their teachings. And today morning also another forum we were discussing that how especially Srila Prabhupada, he had so much of faith in his holy name. And once our Bhakti Bringa Govind Swami Maharaj, Bibi Govind Swami Maharaj, it's a long back in Vrindavan, once he visited like the ashram of Akinchan Das Babaji Maharaj. It was an Ekadasi night, it was really dark, and Babaji Maharaj, he was just chanting the holy name, completely absorbed and completely releasing the holy name. And at that point of time, once he saw Devi Govind Maharaj, he just gestured him and asked him to sit down, and then started talking to him. He said, do you know how Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he was so successful in preaching, how he became a Jagat Guru, and Maharaj didn't say anything. And then Babaji Maharaj continued, and he said, I had asked the same question to one of my god brother who was personally sent by Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to preach in London. That yes, you are a disciple of our Simha Guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and you are personally sent by our Guru Maharaj to London to preach. And yes, you followed the instruction of your spiritual master, and you took this holy name to spread. But we know that you're hardly successful. But then why? Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he was so successful. Would you really like to know? And Devi Govind Maharaj said yes, and I told him that because Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he had so firm faith in the holy name. And how do I know this? So on the day of his sannyas ceremony, right? Like I was just chanting, I was doing kirtan, and this process, the sannyas ceremony was going on, and this priest, he asked me at that point of time when he was about to start the ceremony to stop kirtan so that he can continue to recite the mantras. And at that time, I looked towards Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, and Prabhupada gestured me, continue chanting, keep chanting, keep chanting. Because Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he had so much faith in the holy name. He said, this chanting is everything. And at that time, I realized that, yes, he will, carry on this movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he will fulfill that dream of Mahaprabhu, that Prithivitayasyati Nagarati Graf Sarvatra Prachara Hoive Maruna. And that this person will really fulfill the dream of Mahaprabhu, that everywhere this holy name will be spread. Yes, we have been hearing about the glories of the holy name. Sorry. We have been hearing about the glories of the holy name, and we have been speaking about the glories of the holy name, with the chanting of the holy name. But do we have the enough faith? Still, we have a long way to go. Yes, we hear that how Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Siddha Nitya Mukta Abhinatvam Nama Namena. The Lord and His holy name are not different. Yes, we realize, when we come in front of our spiritual master, we come in front of some senior devotees, that yes, how much respectful we should be. But then once we come in front of the holy name, that do you realize that the holy name is not different than the Lord Himself? And how do you develop that faith? Mm. And especially Srila Prabhupada, he gives a nice understanding, a nice instruction, and especially in Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 25th chapter, 29th verse, he talks about this Bhakti Yoga as a like Bana, Ya Yad Bhagavat Bana. In that purport, Prabhupada is writing that this Bhakti Yoga considered to be like shooting an arrow with a bow. And especially His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj, he elaborated this point, especially in his book, The Living Holy Name. So this analogy of a bow and arrow. And he making this point that how like there are two living things in this jagat, one is the jiva, like the soul, and the holy name. And our purpose is to really bring them together, and with the soul and the holy name together. So how do we do it? He said that there are 3 steps involved in it. The first step is really focus and aim. And the second step, he says, and make an effort. And third step is just let go. That's what we do. First, once you start shooting the arrow, you make an effort. You make an aim, and you focus that there is no other way, no other way, no other way. This is the process. Yes, there are so many processes that have been described in our Vedas and scriptures. And we hear that how this Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. And amongst the Bhakti Yoga, yes, we hear of the 64 limbs of devotional service. All are required, to really enable us, to get us closer to the Krishna, right? And yes, we hear of this Navavidha Bhakti. At the same time, our acharyas are really, putting that focus. Tara madhye sarvashreshtha nama sankirtan niraparadhe nama loile paya prema dhan. Yes, we'll get this prema dhana. By how? Niraparadha nama loile. That we have to chant this holy name, without making any offense. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Bhagavata also, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga Dhana. Bhakti Krishna Nama Smarana Klandana. This Bhakti Yoga, yes, is the true treasure. The true treasure of this world is Bhakti Yoga. And what is this Bhakti Yoga? Krishna Nama Smarana Klandana. The only business is to really develop faith, develop and as much as possible our remembrance, and really cry for the holy name. Smarana Krandan. Yes, whatever the other activities that we do, we should support chanting of the holy name. Because sometimes we get really occupied with so many, so-called activities, or so-called, activities which really, maybe, helping us in bhakti. But at the same time, especially Jiva Goswami, like especially this Niraparade Namalile Premadhan, in that verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in that purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes Jiva Goswami, and he says that how Jiva Goswami in this Bhakti Sandarbha, he writes that how all this process of devotional service, right, has to be accompanied, holy name, right? Otherwise, it's incomplete, So it's so important for all of us to realize this, that the chanting of the holy name is really the everything, and how we should really make our whole effort to make our life based on this holy name. And that's how Sachinandan Swami was living the holy name, right? And yes, it's kind of most of the times it's dormant. We are not able to be attentive to the holy name. We are not able to focus towards the holy name. We have so much a distraction for the holy name, right? What is a distraction? There is alternative attraction. We get attracted to so many things, because we have not developed so much of affection for the holy name. And how do you get affection for the holy name? By being aware, being aware of these glories of the holy name, right? And how do you really make ourselves aware of the holy name? By hearing, from our acharyas, by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, like as you see in Srimad Bhagavatam Purana Mamalam, right? In the beginning, in the end, and in the middle, everywhere, all the cantos, how the glories of the holy name have been so profusely mentioned. And not only in the ancient time, and as we also discussed, even our current acharyas, they have so much of faith in the holy name. That focus is really, really important. At the same time, of course, we are not neglecting other parts of devotional service, right? Definitely, they are required, they are supplements at the same time. Yes, this is really, so we really make it as a goal, as a really focus, within our life. And once we understand there is a focus, we have to make an attempt to it. We have to make an effort to it. And I understand from Prabhuji that a lot of medical researchers are in this group. And recently we are hearing and reading an article, and it was mentioned that there was in 2001 there was a group of researchers in the UK, in one UK university. They were conducting a study with around 248 students, and what they were doing, they were kind of had this hypothesis that a lot of like students or a lot of people having this CSD, coronary health, heart diseases, right? A lot of people having heart attacks, and so what to be done? Yes, one of the way actually to kind of have some exercise, regular exercise. Right. And like this researchers put the students into 3 groups. One of them they put as a controlled group or no intervention group. They just kind of tracked how many times the exercise they do every week and so on. And other group, second group, they put it as a kind of they call it motivational intervention group. They really help this group with a lot of motivations, the benefit of exercise, and sending the regular updates, regular bites, inspiring them with the seminar, and so on, right? And the third group, they call as a motivational and volitional intervention group. So not only putting the students with not only motivation but volitional, right? Formulating a plan to help them in implementing that exercise. So what does it mean? So really having a plan that, okay, right, I will do this exercise every day, at this place, at this time, and I will do with this working condition, right? And do you know what was the result from the first, second, and third group? Like the study showed that the first and second group, maybe they had a 30 to 35% have regular exercise every week, but the third where not only motivation but also the volitional, but having a implementation plan, right? That really helped and in really improving that exercise significantly. They say to around 90%, right? So what that researchers were saying that it's not enough to have a goal intention, that okay, I'll just kind of chant my 16 rounds, but it is very important for us to have an implementation intention, right? To have an implementation plan. That's what we see from our spiritual masters and Prabhupada, that how they stick to the process. That okay, right? I will get up in the morning this time, and I will chant my rounds, right? They do have a sankalpa. They have that firm vow in their life that yes, I want to do no matter what happens, I will do this, right? And in that vow, what to be done? Yes, we should really self introspect. Okay, where am I going wrong at this point of time? Yeah. How am I really getting distracted, or I am not able to prioritize the holy name, right? And I really kind of, let's make a note it down, right? Let's put some effort in noting it down, and that, okay, where exactly it is going on. If I continue really like this, and what will happen? What will be the consequence? Uh, uh, and then, can we make some, simple steps, right? Like, it could be just, okay, just reading some prayers, before chanting of the holy name, or singing, some songs, Vaishnava bhajans, before chanting of the holy name. Or, I want to ensure that I will wake up, early in the morning. That's what I want to show to the Lord. I am prioritizing the holy name, and I'll make an effort, right? Even if the mind gets distracted, I will bring it back. Oh, I'm kind of making one more step. It will be okay. I'll, sit in front of Tulasi, or in front of the deity, or along with the devotees. What are the kind of, the small steps that I can, take and bring into my life, you know, to show to the Lord that I'm making an effort, right? Like, once you put that bow, right? We give that example, that archer, right? Put so much of effort, really kind of, putting all the energy, right? After having that homos, really ensuring that it goes, and really hits, as we are quoting from that purport of 325:29, Prabhupada talks about Bhagavad Bana, right? Like, so that, the jiva has to really, pierce, through all this Brahma Loka, and all the lokas, right? All this 40 planetary system, and to go to, Vaikuntha, and also Goloka, right? You need to have that much of, speed. You need to have that much of thrust, that force. Unless we have that force, then how we can really, go back and pierce through that, right? For that, it is very, very much required, right? To put that effort, through our body, mind, and words, right? How I can really, chant without making an offense, right? Yes, it's so natural for us, right? This, to make an offense. And Prabhupada writes that, yes, it is very, how do you really, avoid the offenses? Prabhupada writes, we should, chant their prayers, like the 10.1.4, Ibruta Tarsai Rupagiya Manat, or the Namastakam prayer, like of Rupa Goswami, Nikhila Sruti Mauli Ratnamala, or, like Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, used to say that, yes, you get this love of Godhead by just, 5 anna. 5 anna. How 5 anna? You just purchase this Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Prarthana, these 2 books of Narottam Das Thakur, and you really get this self-realization. Yes, and especially, a lot of our acharyas, they really focus a lot on really, singing these bhajans, this Vaishnava bhajans, so of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Narottam Das Thakur, because they are the essence of the Vedas. They are the outpouring of the emotions and of the pure devotees. So, we make some effort, that how we can continue to, remember, recite, sing this, beautiful Vaishnava bhajans, and with that, yes, slowly and steadily, once we practice this with patience, yes, the heart will get melted. That strong effort that we put in, definitely, it will have that sufficient power really to, pierce through all this, different anarthas. Right? And then the third step is really the let go. Let go. Yes, we tried our best, but then they leave the rest to the Lord. We come and present ourselves in front of our spiritual master, and Srila Prabhupada, in front of the deities. Oh, that, oh Lord, yes, I'm just insignificant, like fallible, soul, making an attempt, but I'm, failing again and again. You pick me up. If you don't pick me up, where will I go? With that mood of ananyata and akinchanata. Right? There is no one else apart from you, and I don't have anything, to give it to you. I don't have anything, right? And yes, I know what is my capacity, what is my capability. I cannot do anything, really begging and crying in front of the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and the Sri Guru and Gauranga, right? They will because only by their mercy, then we'll be able to ekaki amara nahi payavana harinama sankirtana. Like, yes, it is not possible for us to control the mind, or to be associated and to get the opportunity to directly have association of the holy name, right? But only through the mercy of the pure Bhagavatas, definitely we have a hope. And yes, Lord is there waiting for us to really get back to the spiritual world. But it is our forgetfulness, it is our obstinance that is really keeping us bound. And we know that Nunam Pramatta Kurute Vikarma, right, in that verse 5.5.4. Rishabdev is saying that as long as we have this material body, we should know that we are in this prisoner's cloth. Klesada asa deha. This deha is the klesada, this, as long as this body is there, like, yes, we have committed some sinful activities, we are the prisoners in this Durga. So yes, we need to realize that, and then we need to pray for that mercy of the Supreme Lord, of the Srila Prabhupada. And that's how we celebrate Janmashtami, or we celebrate this appearance day of the Acharyas, to show our gratitude to them, that how they have really come to this material world to deliver us, to deliver fallen souls like us. Otherwise, what is the business they have? They are like the Vaikuntha mans, they are the devotees of the spiritual world, but they just come to deliver all of us. So yes, we reciprocate. We cannot reciprocate. We cannot repay that debt, that whatever they have shown to us. But with our this endeavor, right? What do we do? Making a concerted, conscious effort that yes, this process of bhakti, this chanting of the holy name, is everything, right? And then making an effort sincerely and seriously, sticking to the small details in our life. And third thing is that yes, and after that, praying and crying in front of the Lord, we have a hope. We can really develop that faith, and then we can really chant the name with humility. Yes, just to summarize once again, like how this Mr. OBL Kapoor, Audra Bihari Lal Kapoor, right? Like, once again, as initiated as Adi Kesav Das, from Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. Once he approached a private pharmacist, Prabhupada, at that point of time, and he asked, we heard that you have some chemical formula to go back to Godhead, for the developing the love of Godhead. And Prabhupada said, no, I don't have anything. No, I have heard that you are a chemist, the chemical formula. And then what Prabhupada said, that beautiful verse, Trinada Deshani Jena Taroriva Sahisnan Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Yes, this is the formula that Prabhupada has given to us. We have to chant with humility, with tolerance and patience, by giving all respect to others without expecting anything in return. And Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Mahaprabhu didn't say just Kirtaniya Hari. He said, yes, we have to chant always. Always. Satato Kirtayanto. Lord is saying that. Mahaprabhu is saying that. Prabhupada is saying that. Yes, we have to make our life on the foundation of the holy name. Thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada. Any questions, comments, thoughts?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for such a nice introspection and highlighting important points, important practical points, and touching upon the scriptures of those points. So thank you very much. You have always been very inspirational for us, specifically personally contributing in my own spiritual life, my chanting. Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to open the floor if anyone has any question or comment. You can unmute yourself, or you can drop your question on the chat box.
Just to add, right, like, one more researcher, he was giving that example that how small things make a lot of difference. Yeah, like people want to do some like this dieting and all that, right? How do you want to reduce your intake of the food? And he was saying that once they started substituting 12-inch plate to a 10-inch plate, uh, for food, right? It automatically reduced their intake capacity. Right. But for us, like, how we can make small differences, like, like His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj always says, then keep always the chanting bag with you. Right. That really, inspires us, triggers us, that yes, whenever we get some time, let's chant one round. Or whenever we are there with the devotees, just develop some, desire, hankering for Krishna Katha. Hari Katha hi Katha or Sab Gatha. This is right. Right. So how we should make an effort. That's what Bilobangal Thakur also says, right? Jibhe pivaso mritam etat ev Govinda damodara maladha. He's requesting everybody, please chant this nectar of the holy name. This is the life and giving nectar.
There are a few comments on the chat.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have one question. So where are you in your spiritual life in terms of gaining the taste to the holy name? And can you please pass more tips to achieve the holy name?
Yes, Prabhuji. We have a really long way to go and really developing the taste of the holy name. At the same time, we have a hope that yes, it is possible. Yes, Lord sometimes gives some teasers. Like one devotee was giving this example that earlier, right? Of course, now we don't see or we don't recommend watching movies, but earlier, we know that, like, if you get really the trailers of the movies, you really free of cost. But if you want to really watch the full movie, you have to pay the price. Sometimes, yes, we get also the test, once in a while. That's a causeless mercy of the Lord. Just like Narad Muni, he was a small boy, he got that glimpse of the Supreme Lord. But then he said that, okay, to get the full taste, to get the complete darshan, you have to pay the price. So, right, most of the times, we really focus a lot on the ruchi, on the taste, having darshan of the Lord, having the taste of the holy name of the Lord. But before that comes the nishtha, our determination, our effort. So, once we put our effort, once we are determined to put our effort, the ruchi will follow. That's the kind of the 9 steps that we from Shraddha to Prem that our Goswami, Rupa Goswami has given us. That how we can really enjoy even in this process itself. Yes, the holy name will reciprocate with us, but at this point of time, we are covered with these blankets of anarthas that we are not able to reciprocate. So we have to make an effort in cleaning that. And yes, Lord will help us in cleaning that. But we have to open our heart. We have to open our mind, for Lord. We have to allow the Lord, to do that. And how we have to allow it, make ourselves, turning our face and towards the Lord. Like the parents are always there to help the child, but the child has to be submissive. Child has to be obedient, to the parents. And that's what the child has to do it. Just listen to the parents. Just be obedient to the parents. For a devotee, we have to just, for us, follow the senior devotees, follow spiritual master, follow the words of Srila Prabhupada, and by just taking this small baby steps of prioritizing the holy name, hearing, reading, and we'll really feel the bliss and just following this process itself. All right. So that's why Prabhupada says, what is the goal of chanting? Is it really chanting of the holy name? We can really, develop that bliss of bhakti, by practicing bhakti. So we get really the love of Godhead, not only at perfection, but even during the practice stage also. So, Lord is not giving us a post-dated check that, okay, at some point of time we'll get this love of Godhead. No, we see that how the devotees, they relish sharing Krishna Katha or chanting of the holy name. Like Srila Haridas Thakur has shown that, and now so many devotees are saying that how their life is to really release the holy name and share the holy name. That's where we started. That how we make an effort to associate with the devotees who have that taste. Right? Yes, we might not have the taste of the holy name, but once we hear from Srila Prabhupada, who has taste of the holy name, we'll develop that. By practicing, we'll during the practice stage also we'll get that taste.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Right. So, yes, we have a long way to go, and we have to pray for us that we continue this process, with patience and with enthusiasm. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you have been motivating and counseling many congregation members throughout. Like, just want you to highlight some points, like while chanting is so important, why chanting during the early hours of the day makes it more focused and better. So can you please throw some light on this aspect?
Yeah, just going back once again to that analogy of that bow and arrow. Right? We have to put that effort, and we have to make that sincere effort, and we have to show that yes, we are making an effort, and we cannot be complacent, we cannot be lazy. And yes, I like we cannot say that just chalta hai, abhi karo ya baad mein karo. The devotee was saying that chalta hai, nahi chalta bhakti mein. Right? We have to show that effort, and especially early in the morning, especially in Bangalore, we realize that the traffic is less. Right? Most importantly, the mind is so focused, the mind is so calm and composed, at least relatively, as compared to during the day or evening or night time. And especially, as much as possible, coming physically together, but if it is not possible, like taking this virtual platform as a facilitator to come together, it really makes a lot of difference. One devotee was giving this example, especially early in the morning, the ocean, it throws the dirt. Right here, this is the nature of the law, that the early morning is really required for us to nourish ourselves, to recharge ourselves. And we can not only in terms of the number of rounds that we can chant, but the quality of the rounds that we chant early in the morning is significantly better than any time during the day. No, we can do that. And yes, like it is difficult, no doubt, and especially in cities like Bangalore, where it is so cold and things like that. You within the blanket, you would really like to snooze, for another 15 minutes, another half an hour. And okay, how does it matter? Okay, anyway, it's a weekend, or anyway, I'm working from home, right? I have so much of excuses, so many excuses. But then, as you said, we have to make an intention, we have to make a vow of that implementation plan that we talked about. It's not just chanting that, okay, I'll chant this minimum number of rounds, but having that vow of that process, that yes, I will start my rounds okay at 4:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, we don't need to be have a super aggressive target, but have some so improvement to the Lord that I am working on it. I think recently I think Radheshyam Prabhu was saying that we should not use diaper while we are still grown up. Right? Yes, we are growing up. Yes, Lord understands, and either the Murkha says Visnaya or a Dhira person says Visnave, right? Like Bhavagrahi Janardhan, he understands, okay, we are going through this or that, that's why we're not able to do it. But at the same time, right? Yes, father understands the emotions of the child, with the broken words also. At the same time, right, we have to grow up. How long we can remain just a neophyte child? We have to make that effort to show to the child has to show to the parents that I'm making an effort. If the child continues da 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 ba ba ba, how long parents can tolerate it? Right? Yes, we had once in a while have some excuses, because of health or because of this reason or that reason, but we cannot, just compromise on our focus. That yes, we have to go back to Godhead. We have to develop this love of Godhead, and it's not easy. Yes, because we have been hearing and thinking that okay, we'll just get it. But yes, we have to put an effort, and there is a focus is required, and the devotees are there to support us, to guide us, to facilitate us, how we can do it. We have to be just on the center of those devotees, who are really guiding us, because they have gone through it. They can really help us. Yes. Vaishnava Seva, like, how we have that, aspiration, to listen to the Vaishnavas, right? And with that only we'll be able to have attentive in this holy name. Unless we follow these principles, right? We cannot, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to develop the test in the holy name or, to go back to Godhead. Yes. This process is simple, but it's not easy. That's what Srila Prabhupada used to say. We should not say that, okay, just like this, I'll go back. We have to put an effort. Once again, yes, we have to focus, we have to put an aim, and then let go. Yes, it might be difficult, but once you pray in front of Srila Prabhupada, it's possible. It is possible. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for this. Thanks. So, just want to check if anyone has any last question before we end this session. Okay, so thank you very much, Sudhir Gopal Prabhuji, for taking out time. I understand Sunday is very busy for devotees like yourself, so but really appreciate you taking this time out. Thank you very much for that.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Bol. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much.
Jai.
Sudhir Gopal Prabhuji.
Hare.
Jai Prabhuji. Jai.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Thank you very much.